So here we are with the Defibaughs. Mrs. Defibaugh, could you just state your name and, again, where are we at?
I'm Diana Defibaugh, and we're in Granbury, Texas, outside of our motorhome.
Wonderful.
Which is what we live in now.
Wonderful. Mrs. Defibaugh, as Howard was sharing with us earlier, obviously a number of challenges that had occurred. Could you just kind of describe to us what some of those challenges were that you had to deal with, first of all with the first round of cancer, and then also with the second one?
Well, the first round of cancer was, they did the surgery. They took out the lobe of his lung. They didn't do chemo or radiation. The hardest thing to deal with that was his attitude. He was angry with the world and anybody and everybody in it. So it took him quite a while to get over that. This one, the obstacles were, it was just totally unknown to me. Even though I grew up with, my mother was a nurse. I had worked for a doctor. I had worked in a hospital years ago. I thought I could be real strong. And when we were in the hospital for 23 days, and the nurses taught me how to suction him out and how to pull out the tube if it got plugged, and how to do his tube feedings. And so, I didn't think there would be a problem. And we came home, and I suddenly realized that in the hospital, there were nurses there 24 hours a day, and now it was me. And he had tube feedings every 2 hours, and he had medications every 2 hours, and he had suction every 15 minutes. And he was, because of the in-depth of his surgery, of his 2 surgeries, he was pretty incapable of doing much for himself when we first came home from the hospital.
Wow.
I just encouraged him to continue to just, it's going to be okay. We prayed. I think the difference this time and the first time was his faith in God had increased. I have to say to other caregivers, you must call on your friends and family to help you. I could not have done it if, as Howard had said before, I had friends that came and picked up our laundry and did it. We had friends that brought us food every night. I had some of our friends, the men would come and take him to radiation and give me a break for a couple of hours. I just couldn't have done it without relying on those friends. And we caregivers often want to be so strong, and we can do it, and I can do it. And then you find yourself in a real pickle because you can't. You can't do it all. I did the caretaking of him,
Mm-hmm.
and I did the encouraging. And when he was going through radiation, and he'd say, I can't swallow, when he was trying to eat, and I'd say, well, you know what Katrina and Dr. Duchik said, if you don't eat this food and swallow, you will never be able to eat again, and you know how much you love to eat. And then when he would get really down, he had the best attitude of anybody for going through what he'd been through, but you can't help but getting down. And when he'd get down and he would start crying, I would sing "You Are My Sunshine." And that's how that's the first song he sang to Katrina, and that has become the choir's song, because I wanted him to know that I needed him. And I think that's important for caregivers to know. They have to encourage the person who's going through this. If you stop and think about it, their whole world has changed. It's not the same, and it's never going to be the same. There's always going to be issues to deal with. But the one thing that we both feel so blessed about is that he's alive, whether or not we ever get to travel all of the United States or not, we have each other. We have met tremendous friends in the laryngectomy group. And that's something I want to say to the laryngectomies and the caretakers is find you a group, because they share so much with each other, both the caretakers and the laryngectomies, and you learn things. You learn, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Oh, I didn't know how to do that. So they share constantly. And now, you know, we call each other. And now we know that if we're having a really hard time and a really bad day, we can call one of the other ladies and we can talk and cry, and then we can laugh, and then we can go on. Because it's not easy, but it's not hard. I don't want people to feel like their life is over. It's not. Go out and have fun, and that's one thing he learned. You know, you're not going to sit home in the house. If you do, it's going to be by yourself. And we've had wonderful friends, and we go out to eat, and yes, it takes him longer than everybody else. And they don't care. They go, no problem, Howard. And we just all sit and laugh and talk, and we go to their homes and play games, and go to their homes for dinner, and, you know.
It's normal for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just, you know, it's different. But it's normal. And the way the first time he said, well, I don't know what they're going to think about me coughing, and maybe I can't talk. Because, you know, when you're first learning to talk, you can talk for a little while, and then you maybe not can talk for quite a while. And I said, if they're really our friends, it won't matter. And sure enough, they were really our friends, and it didn't matter.
Great.
And our family has been wonderful.
Great.
So,
great.
Don't give up. Don't quit. Don't hibernate in the house. And just know that there's lots and lots of laryngectomies.
Great.
So, and one of our goals besides traveling is to help other laryngectomies and their spouses get through this process.
Great.
So.
Well, wonderful. Well, Mrs. Defibaugh, thank you so much for sharing that with us. Howard, again, thank you very much. We'd certainly appreciate it. And I think what your story is certainly going to inspire others. I'm confident of that. And again, thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.